that it's the same level as pre-cal, just different. Because for a long time they had this is your easy. Like, no, it's not. It starts out very, but then it does not stay there. All right. So we're going to be looking at equivalent expressions today. We worked with those a lot yesterday where we were taking the words and making them into math. So we're going to start, we've got a little bit of the words into math here, and then we're really going to be diving into expressions and seeing which ones mean the same thing and which ones mean something different. So we're starting out by dealing with a lot of equivalent expressions here. So our first one here, page 58, you guys have a lot of space to write on. I don't care if you write on lines or if you use a blank space, whatever floats your boat. I try and give you guys options on the page. But your page should look like this. And what we have here is that the students in this class have done some unit conversions. So they took miles and they switched them into kilometers. And there was two different students who used two different techniques. And so we're trying to compare what they did. So we have here that Abby takes the number of miles, doubles it, and then subtracts 20% of the result. And we also have Renato, pulling it up without reading it. Renato is dividing the number of miles by 5 and then multiplies it by 8. So they do very different things. So what we should do to start with, because we are supposed to write the algebraic expressions for what they did, and then we're going to see if they should be getting the same answer. They do very different things. I wonder if it works. Let's find out. So this is very similar to those cards we were working with yesterday. How will we take what Abby does and write it down? If she takes the number of miles, doubles it, and then subtracts 20% of it. So she has some number of miles that she's then going to double. So times 2, you can either put it as 2m or as m times 2. I genuinely don't care. And then she's going to subtract, you know what that means, subtract 20% of the result. Whoa, weird way to say something. So 20%, also known as 0.20, I heard that part. So we've got 0. And if you want to put it as 0.20, that's totally fine. If you want to put it as 0.2, it means the same thing. So how do we say 20% of the result she had? 20% of what piece? Of the number of miles, but after times 2. She subtracts 20% of the doubled number of miles. So she's subtracting 20% of 2m, or m times 2. So the way we mark it so that we take that result is our 2m, or m times 2. Genuinely, again, I do not care how we write it. So this is what she seems to be doing. Takes your miles, doubles it, and subtracts 20% of the number she got. What is Renato doing? He's taking his number of miles, and then what? He's dividing the number of miles by 5. So I could write it like this. As I say, it's unpleasant though, especially when we're trying to compare stuff. So it might be easier to do this as our dun 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 least favorite thing in the world, a fraction. I know we hate fractions. I promise, as we get into equations, I'll show you how to be rid of fractions forever. Almost entirely. But he doesn't just take his number of miles and divide it by 5. What does he do next? Times 8. So he takes this whole piece and then he times it by 8. So you can put it as m times 8. You can do m over 5 times 8. You can do 8m divided by 5. It all does the same thing. I can scooch some things around because it doesn't matter what order we multiply. and multiplying and dividing are very, very similar. So these are the two expressions we get. And then we have to figure out if they're going to get the same answer. Well, we're not going to just substitute values in. I mean, we could, just to do a spot check. But that doesn't really prove anything. So let's see if we can scooch some things around. This guy looks nasty. This whole expression is kind of gross. So let's see if we can degrossify it. The official term. See if we can degross this Abby's equation. So our m times 2, I can write that again. I'm going to put that as 2m. Let's see if we can simplify these decimally grossness things. And you can use the space under A or you can use the space under B. Genuinely, it does not matter to me where we put stuff in the book. I gave you space. Use the space how you wish. Well, what can we do with this 0.2 times 2m? Is that something easy to do in our head? It's like we could bust out a calculator. But then we have to stop, watching our TikToks going on Instagram. I don't want to change out of the app. What's 2 times 2? 4. If we have one of the decimal things, think back to when we had the 13 and the 13. So then we have 0.2 times 2. I know 2 times 2 is 4. What's 0.2 times 2? 0.4. It's very much like when we did it with that 13 and 17 and 221 thing. Oh my gosh, what relevance, huh? This is the same thing as if we had 0.4 times m. You could also multiply the 0.2 times 2 in the calculator. That's okay. We can use calculators. We have calculators that live in our pockets. They're right here. I just don't like to close out of the TikToks when I'm in a TikTok zone. I want to change it to do a calculator thing. Yeah. Let me stay on my TikTok video, on my YouTube video, and not have to change it. So can we simplify that more? Can I take 2m minus 0.4m and make that be still less even more? Can we simplify this more? 2m minus 0.4m. I have 2 mirrors and I take away 0.4 of a mirror. How much mirror do I have left? I heard it. It was quiet, but it was there. 1.6 m. Whatever m stands for here. It's miles, could be mirrors, could be monkeys. Generally, you don't do decimal points with living creatures. Like those of you that have me before know my rant on that one. Okay, so that gets it down to be significantly less gross for Abby's adventure of an equation or expression. And we're trying to compare it with Renato's. So we know we have m divided by 5 times 8. I can rewrite this one too. I could switch this around to be 8m over 5. That means the same thing. Most people don't find me on that one. Which is the same thing as if I put 8/5 times m. And now it's starting to look a whole lot more like this thing, so we can compare them. What is 8/5 as a decimal? What is 8 divided by 5? That would be one we would want to type in a calculator. You can do it. 1.6 m. So should they get the same answer? Yeah. They should always get the same answer. What we're looking at here, and all of these things on the page included in this, is that this piece is an equivalent expression to this piece, is equivalent to this, meaning they mean the same thing. And this is, which is exactly the same as this guy, equivalent to this piece, which is also equivalent to this piece. So these things all mean the same thing. I could swap any one of them out for the other if it made my life easier. Like Abby's is super complicated. If she wants to make her life easier, she can switch to this. This is probably fine. He could switch to any one of these if it would make things easier. These aren't too bad. But this is a whole lot. So they're all equivalent. They all mean the same thing, and they are equivalent. And I left the touchscreen. I did my hair hit the screen, and it did the thing. I love the touchscreen too much. There's times when it's wonderful. There's times when I just want to hit the computer. Okay. Questions on this guy? We're looking at a couple more. We're going to look at a different page next. Okay. Next page. Looks like this. Now we're going to work some story problems. Oh my gosh, what? Ah! Looking at equivalent expressions. Oh, I was going to say the sheer number of story problems in here is vast. We have very few pages that are not story-based. Oh, if you flip through here, everything has a story. I know. Hey, at least I don't make you write them. You're welcome. We printed. All right. So what we're looking at here is we're getting a pool. Yay, living our best life. It's a beautiful pool, and we know there's a special on square swimming pools. So I'm buying square swimming pool. Ooh, it's beautiful, my square swimming pool. I have so many things up to say. You don't even know, dude, because I have tiny swimming pools too. All right, so what we're looking at is I get my fancy square swimming pool. I haven't decided what size yet, so we're just calling it size S. I don't know what size it is. The square ones are on sale, so you know it's got to be square. But then I've decided when I put it in my yard, I need a pathway around. Or I'm going to trip and fall and I'm going to break something because I'm that clumsy. Y'all will see. I will trip on the rug. I will trip on nothing. I am clumsy. I will trip on stuff. So I need a pathway or I'm going to trip. That's how it's got to be. So, because I am the way I am, we're going to write an expression for the walkway around my pool. And I had these submissions before on walkways for around my pool. And we're trying to figure out if these are going to work or not. But again, we don't know the number. I don't know how long the side of the pool is. All I know is that it's square. So what we're doing is we're calling the length of the side of my pool S, which means I can think of this as a rectangle of size S. Same thing on this side. I can think of this as a rectangle of size S. And the tiles that we're buying are 1 foot by 1 foot, so we tend to call this a 1. So if we look at my oh so beautiful pool over here, I've got a side S, I've got a 1, I've got a side S. Same kind of pieces. So we want to know which of these are going to be equivalent to the whole walkway around my pool. If you are a hands-on kind of person, I have for you tiles, S-tiles, and pools. So we can do that. Like if it helps, I got them. I have plenty. So let's take a peek. I know I see several people that want to work with their own pool.
Can I work with her?
Yeah, I got tons. I was like, and I can get more pools. I think I'm short on over here at pools, and I have more of them. So we want to see which of these things are going to make the border around my pool. So let's take a peek. Start working through them and see what we come up with. You do not have to do it with the little dudes. Oh, guys. Yeah, come here at your best. Give me a second. We got to do it fast. You guys going over here? I'm going. You guys go over don't have to use it. That's totally fine. It's not tons of them. Giant piles. I'm gonna put one over here if anybody wants them. And they are the length of the side of the switch. We're going around the outside. Go around the outside.
You're gonna make it like that one?
Yeah, it's gonna be like that one. And they're trying to see which of those expressions match up. I had plenty of cool. Cool. Squares. Oh, you want your and then the back end is beautiful. You guys don't have to. Alright, see what we can look at, see which of these are going to make a border around the whole thing, and which ones aren't. Okay? Yes. Thank you, because I will forget if you don't remind me. 100%. They go down. See what we can come up with, working with our sides and our ones. That's
this is 4 times, so is it S plus 1, S plus 1, S plus 1, S plus 1? So S plus 1.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're
Oh, there's corrector. Oh. Explain how.
We're not.
I'm gonna stay.
Going over around. And I feel that. Yeah.
Oh, no, I already did it.
Which one's work? Which one's
Okay,
out?
we're gonna build a swimming pool.
Which one's work? You have a pool. It's square.
Oh, so the blue's the
So
wall.
who's your pool?
Yes.
We're building halfway around the walk.
Okay. I got you. Ooh, smart.
There we go. I feel like it's clearer when we have the pieces. I like having the pieces.
Wait, we're genius. I know how to do this. I did it.
Come on, wait.
I did it.
Yeah. Which of these are gonna work? Think them through.
4S water.
Love the discussions you guys are having. It's fantastic. Gotta move this so we don't fall asleep. There we go. That's my favorite noise to hear in here. No. My favorite noise. Voice in here? Get that. Oh, okay. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Looking good there.
Oh, she's so slow.
Alright, you guys are doing awesome. You guys are doing awesome. What's that?
2S plus 2S.
I like the colors. You can just look. Which of these questions work out?
One S
Which of these work?
plus 2. So, no.
Did we do it correctly? No. Times S plus 2. Times S plus 2. Did we do it correctly?
Oh, it's just gold. Because you switch over these. Change your board. Think about it. When you think about arms, like, there's more than one. Let's go with that. We're gonna talk it through. Let's start talking through.
Two S's.
So on this first one, we are told to look at 4 sets of S plus 1. So our side plus 1. So if we think about the side and 1, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, will this go all the way around my pool? If I have 4 sets of a side plus 1. Did that go all the way around?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of S plus 1. So this one totally works. And I'm lazy, so I tend to just put, yeah, it works, and I'll put a check. Because what this is telling us is if we have a side plus 1, and I get 4 of them, it will go all the way around my pool. You don't have to sketch it in, but if it helps you to see it, you totally can. It goes all the way around my pool that way. What about if we look at S squared, or S times S?
No.
Why not? What is S times S?
2
Not the same as 2 S's.
Wait.
So what would S squared, or S times S, be for my hot tub, or my pool?
S.
It's like that's S times S, right? Length times width, also known as our area. Oh my goodness, there's a little geometry in my thing. Ew. This would be if I wanted to cover a lid for my pool. That would be how big I needed for the lid on my pool, or floor. Maybe I'm doing the floor. So this is the area of the pool, not the border. That's the area of the pool, not the border. That is straight up the blue part. This piece is S times S. That gives me this guy. So then we're trying to find out our border pieces. So what if I have just 4 S's and 4 squares? Will that make the border of my pool? I have 4 S rectangles and 4 squares. Will that work? Yeah, it's all the same pieces. Just including in those squares. Whatever felt more. I've got 4 S's, I've got 4 squares. That one totally works. Let's look at the next one. We've got 2 S's. So I've got my 2 S's. And then we're told to get 2 sets of S plus 2. Is that the right amount of stuff to make my whole border again? What do you think? If I have 2 S's and 2 sets of S plus 2. Yeah. What that's doing is that's giving me basically top and bottom. And then I could fill in the sides. So it's still there. This is still S plus 2. S plus 2. But it fits around. It's just lined up in a weird way. Yes, dear. Yeah. So this one has our S plus 2 and our S plus 2. And then it'll have on the sides another S and another S. Where did they go, dear? What about our last one? 4 S's. Is that enough? Why not?
What?
If I don't include the singles, what am I missing? will break a toe in about a day and a half. I would trip over those lack of corners. I would have to try and hop. Don't make me hop on a pool deck. I would slip and fall. So this one is missing the corners. So we have up here 3 equivalent expressions. They don't necessarily look equivalent. 2 of them aren't awful, but one of them is real weird looking. So this one, the 4s plus 1, is equivalent, exactly the same thing as our 4s plus 4. That one's really easier to spot because I could just distribute the 4. We're pretty familiar with that one to get this guy. This one is also equivalent, but it would take a distribution and then a combined like terms. So it's got a couple of different steps in there. But this one is also equivalent. They mean the same thing. It is essentially the same number of pies. It's always going to wind up being those 4 pieces and those 4 pieces. Any way of grouping them together. I could group these in all kinds of different ways. I could do a 3 to 1, 3 to 1. Still the same number of pieces. We did a set where we had them like this. I could make pairs of those. I could do 2s plus 2. I can make all kinds of different groups. So all of them are equivalent because they're made up of the same pieces, whether or not they're squished around or not. Okay? We're going to do one more page. It has 3 pieces on it. Okay? This is the last bit. Flip the page. We're going to talk about phones. We love phones. Phones are our friends. Besties. We love them. Now we're going to talk about buying phones. Okay? This is the last one for today. We'll go through this page and then we're done. So if we have here, P and Q are representing the price of 2 phones. And they're telling us here that P is a 64 gig phone. A little small for nowadays, but when they printed the book, that was pretty big. And that Q is 32 gigs. Again, anymore, that's kind of a basic phone, but back in the day, that was really big. And so since we know that P is a 64 gig and Q is a 32 gig, we know P is in fact more expensive than Q. They tell us that. So we're asked to figure out if P plus Q or 2Q, which one's going to be bigger? So we can think about this in a couple of different ways. When they say something like 2Q, but we're comparing it with something that has a plus, I'm going to rewrite that because 2Q is the exact same thing as if I had Q plus Q. They are equivalent. They mean the same thing. So we want to know if P plus Q is the same as Q plus Q, or which one's going to be bigger. What do we think? Let's look. So we know that P is going to be bigger. We don't have a specific number. And I want us to, as much as possible, not think about it being a specific number. But I do know that P is bigger than Q. And we're going to compare it with Q plus Q. So if I have a big P plus little q, and I'm comparing it with Q plus Q, which one's bigger? Look at it this way. If I have a big thing plus a little thing, or a little thing plus a little thing, which one's bigger? Left or right?
The one with P.
The one with the P. The left one. This side's going to be bigger. Always remember, alligator eats the bigger side. Okay? So what this is saying is if I get the fancy schmancy phone for me and the basic phone for my husband, is that going to be more expensive or less expensive than if we get the 2 little phones?
More.
It's the same. It's going to be more expensive for me to get the bougie fancy phone. He's fine with the basic one. But if I get the fancy schmancy phone, it's going to cost more. Okay, so then let's look at the middle one. Same kind of thing. We're seeing if the left one's bigger, if the right one's bigger. We have P plus 0.08P and Q plus 0.08Q. Well, ooh, that is not what I wanted. Switch back. There we go. Screen freaked out on me. So when we have something like this, oh, fun, my screen's really freaking out on me. To close that. Oh, it's gonna cancel the show. Bring it back in. It's gonna need a second. So if we think about these, I've got 1P plus 0.08P. Can we combine those together? Oop. What if I have, I'm trying to think of something we could do. I have one piece of cake and point David of a piece of a cake. Can I smush them together? I can smush them together. They're both pieces of cake. They're both peas. So if I have 1P plus 0.08P, I can rewrite that as 1.08 times P, right? Same thing. So if I have 1Q plus 0.08Q, again, I have a quiche and 0.8 of a quiche. I can smush those together and get more quiche. I have 1.08 quiche, or 1.08 Q. I always try and use a word, but Q is always a hard one. Pretty much it's queen, quiche. But we don't do 0.8 of a quilt. Quilt is a good one. I like quilt. If I have a whole quilt and 0.8 of a quilt, I can make a slightly bigger quilt. So then if we think about 1.08P and 1.08Q, which one of them is going to be bigger? Because remember, P is a lot bigger than Q. And the Q's really little. So which side's bigger, left or right? The left side. Why did they pick 0.08? It feels so random. If I have 1 and 0.08, I don't know what time we use 0.08 regularly on a almost daily basis. It's the sales tax.
I thought it was 0.71.
Depends on the state. I think it was, I was like, we were at 0.7, but I think with the new stadium tax, I think we're at 0.8. But honestly, I don't know. But it's about the same thing. So they're looking at price with sales tax. So then they're looking, our last one here, this is our last one for the day. And then you can pack up. If I have 600 and I take away P, or if I have 600 and I take away Q, which one's going to be bigger? Some 600 take away P, or I'm going to have 600 take away that little bit of Q. If I take away the bigger number, am I going to have more left? Or am I going to have more left when I take away something bigger? It's just a little guy. So my leftovers, the change we get back, because what this is saying is, okay, I'm walking into the phone store with $600 in my pocket. If I get the bougie expensive phone, I'm going to walk out with way less money in my pocket than if I get the basic, like, pay per minute phone. If I get the iPhone with plan, I'm going to have way less money in my wallet. Because our leftovers, we're going to have a lot more left on this one. And what we're left with on this one's going to be very, very small. So you don't have to think about numbers when we're dealing with things that are like talking about subtraction or adding, things like that. Sometimes it helps to write them with size or to think about what we're going to have left over. So our leftovers on this one are going to be really, really little. And our leftovers on this one are going to be a bit bigger because we're taking less away. So this one would face the other direction. It's gonna go that way. When we're removing the smaller number, we're gonna have more left over. Okay, so we're gonna work more with equivalent expressions next week. They are gonna get to be a bit more complicated. You can flip through the next couple of pages. They're gonna get weirder. It's okay. I see. It's okay. We're gonna do some cool stuff. All right, so I'm not giving you a new homework assignment today. You're welcome. Happy Friday. You've had 2 this week. Make sure you've done these. Homework 0, homework 1. They should be they should be up on Canvas. If it's been graded, so if you have a number there as your score, it should also be in Skyward. Next week, I'm going to have you guys double check that it's talking to Skyward right, because sometimes my Canvas and Skyward, they argue. Okay?